Move this closer to me. Please, 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 please.
Please, Toby, please.
Please, Toby, please. I said please.
I think Toby only wants to do favors for me.
What the crap?
Howdy ho, you handsome hunk. Grab a snack and gain some chunk. If your day is great or really sunk, we hope to help you shake the funk. So if you're good to hear some junk, buckle up, it's the Junk Monk Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Junk Monk Podcast.
I'm your host, Kandyce Sloan, who you know from Instagram at Hardens and Hardhats.
And I'm Noah, your co-host, you know from right now.
If this is your first time listening, let us fill you in. We are watching and reviewing every episode of the USA hit TV show Monk right here each week.
And we are going to do so while eating a little bit of junk. So, Kandyce.
Okay. I have hot cocoa bombs. They are the hottest thing this past winter, even though it's spring. We're still going to try them. Actually, I'm cold, and so I got the idea to do that. Mm-hmm. And I have these kind of left over. So, which one do you want? There's no, like, flavors.
I would like the blue one.
Want the blue
Actually,
one? Okay.
No.
You want this one?
Yes.
Okay.
This one looks older, though.
It does look older. I mean, I can have whichever one.
It's just that I think I've tried that one.
You said you hadn't had a hot cocoa bomb.
Well, I think I might have tried that one.
Okay, well then I'll try this one.
Okay.
If you've tried that one.
It was alright.
Noah, what is wrong with you?
It was mediocre.
I'm literally doing this for the people. There's stuff in here. Did you shake it?
Wait, I wanna. What?
Now he's excited.
Stop shaking without me.
Now he's excited.
Okay, ready?
If you remember last week on Mr. Monk's favorite show, I talked about how my all-time fave was Friends, and I have a little...
Ew, this is like a Thanksgiving one.
A Thanksgiving. Maybe it is Thanksgiving. Oh, it does have pumpkins on it.
Ready?
Okay. Okay, here we go. So what you're supposed to do is put it in here,
okay,
I think.
Well, it won't fit.
Oh, it won't fit? Oh no, we found a flaw with the Junk Monk mug.
He's a little thick.
He's a little thick.
There we go. He's chilling.
Okay. Well, that cup is skinny, huh? This one's a little bigger. Okay, So this is like super hot water. So you're supposed to pour 8 ounces, but I have no clue how much 8 ounces is. So we're just going for it. I did it until it started floating. Okay. This is hot water, so put it right there.
That's not that bad. Oh, you can see the smoke.
Okay, so we're probably not going to be able to do this.
That's good.
Until drunk time. I mean, like, they've got to dissolve, right? Or something. I don't know how this works. What did I do with the
noobs.
Okay, wait.
Oh, dang it. I used my hand for nothing.
Whoa, yours is turning
Mine's
orange.
Already orange. That's cool.
Oh, I'm dumb. I can't see mine because...
Is it blue?
It has marshmallows inside.
Whoa.
What, can you guys see that?
I think mine has marshmallows inside too!
Yours kind of looks nasty, though.
Mine's is like cracking open at the moment.
Guess we could have had a better camera angle for them to see that, but... I mean, it actually kind of doesn't look that good, but the marshmallows was very surprising.
We're on YouTube right now, by the way.
Oh, yes, we are. Why do we forget that? We're like trying to show you something you can't even see. Okay. We are on YouTube. If you want to go check out the video, apologies, go do it. Also, you must know I've seen every episode of Monk. I'm a huge fan. Started watching in 2007 and for the most part watched it as it aired.
I've seen seasons 1 and 2 and those we've done on the show and a few scattered here and there in different seasons.
So, if you're ready to start the show, Toby, take it away.
Here's what happened. Okay. This is Mr. Monk and the Foreign Man, Season 8, Episode 12. Here's what happened.
Episode 2.
Oh, oops. This is going to be a long one. Okay. Mr. Monk... Okay. This is Mr. Monk and the Foreign Man, Season 8, Episode 2. Here's what happened. In the opening scene, we see a Nigerian woman in Sarah Wenganye at a convenience store buying some groceries. After paying for her items, she calls her husband Samuel on the payphone outside and heads on her way. She's then struck by an oncoming vehicle and dies soon after. Next we see Monk in his apartment when he hears Samuel mourning his wife down below. After learning of Ansara's murder, Monk makes it his mission to help Samuel solve her hit and run. Meanwhile, the captain has a new case for Monk, the murder of a housekeeper, Maria Fuentes. who is bludgeoned to death while seemingly researching her head wounds in a nearby book. Monk, however, is more interested in starting the investigation with Samuel by confirming the hit-and-run vehicle was a van with the missing headlight. They then go to a local gas station to see if anyone remembers seeing it. They get a clue that the van read poison and later realize it actually said poisson, meaning fish in French, and head to the restaurant Le Poisson Bleu. There they find a potential suspect, Kenneth Nichols, ranting and firing one of his employees. Monk and Samuel know he's the guy and go undercover as dishwashers to check him out. They see the potential van and see that Nichols was headed to the farmer's market the night of the incident. Monk also notices Nichols is quite friendly with John and Carolyn Buxton, the couple whose housekeeper was murdered. He puts it all together. Kenneth Nichols was drunk driving the night he hit Insara. He called John Buxton to talk baseball. However, Buxton didn't have his phone, and Maria Fuentes answered. They chatted for a moment before he strikes Insara with his van and blurts it out to Maria. After realizing what he had done, he begins lying to her about getting help for Insara while she looks through the first aid book to help with the accident. He keeps Maria distracted while he drives to the house to kill her so she can't be a witness to his hit and run. Unfortunately, Nichols overhears Monk's suspicions of him, and he and Samuel are kidnapped at gunpoint. Luckily, they devise a plan to overpower Nichols, and in the end, they make him pay for Insara. And Trudy.
All right. This looks really gross.
Whew. Does it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're supposed to do it with milk.
Oh. Oops. I always make hot chocolate with water, so do you think it matters?
It's kind of gross. Mine has a lot of chocolate in it. But mine is also probably 3 months old. So.
Well, no, it tastes right.
Oh, really?
But mine tastes like the icing that was around it. It doesn't really taste like hot chocolate. And it's already warm, too.
Candace, what did you like about this episode?
Okay, I'm going to start off by saying, because I regretted not doing this in Mr. Monk Gets Lotto Fever, how much I really, really liked this episode. And then by the end, you were like, you didn't seem like you liked this one. So I'm going to make sure that I say it now. I love this episode.
Is it Lotto Fever good?
And maybe. It's possible. We'll see.
Wow.
We'll see. But I'm just saying that I don't want to make the same mistake and not hype it because I love this one. It's very special to me. It's actually my mother's favorite episode. So I know she really loves this one, so it makes me love it even more. But it is chock full of amazing, amazing content. So I will start off with my first thing, which is the wife. Ansara, right? She was she was pretty, first of all, but she was so sweet when she's having like the conversation with the grocery store guy and he's kind of hitting on her a little bit, which was, I thought that was cute because he's like, if someone's lucky to have you and she's like, no, I'm the lucky one. It's like, oh, because she knew how, good of a guy Samuel was. And it was, she was Samuel's Trudy, which obviously was like the theme of the episode, but in, a really sweet way. And it was just obvious that she could be that for someone because of the brightness. Like, what does he say? Her name means sunflower. And then
did not catch that.
Yeah, her name means sunflower. And then he also says that Ansara used to say, miracles happen every day. You just have to know where to look.
I remember that.
Yeah. So, it was his Trudy. So it was, I liked the wife. I liked Ansara.
I like her more than Trudy.
Well,
Trudy lacks identity, in my opinion.
Because she's
just a little bit.
She's dead and she is played by multiple people.
Yes. She's played by multiple people. That takes me out, first of all. It's a different Trudy this episode. Yeah, it was this episode. Where they were looking at the Monk is showing Samuel his, like,
I was going to
Trudy
save that
book.
for plot holes, but it's okay.
Oh, okay, no.
Scratch that for your memories, people. It's okay. You could say it.
But yeah, it's just, I like her more than Trudy. Because we don't know Trudy. Yeah. We just know.
We love the idea of Trudy because Monk,
like Trudy,
basically she's an idea now because she's gone. So she's just an idea for us.
We don't get to see any, like, we haven't seen a thing of her being nice, other than like the library.
There's been other times. No, there's been other times. Honestly, I think there are actually like a lot in the beginning, like season 3. I can think of some good ones, but. Well, we're in likes, so let's stick with likes. We liked Unsara. Do you have a like?
I do. Okay. Monk and Natalie reading the paper together was so cute at the very beginning. I mean, they're not really happy about it, but it's cute.
Well, she's reading over his shoulder while he's sitting in the chair, and she's like, "Mr. Monk, nobody reads that fast. You have to slow down. Like, you have to wait for me." And he's like, "Oh my God, what? Natalie, hurry up!" And he's like, well, God, "Why can't you get your own paper?" And she's like, "This is my paper." So yes, that was very cute. Okay, but this is not Randy's first crime scene. He gets so burned by Natalie in this, right? Because, of course, you have Monk and he says, I have to get out of this apartment. There's incense. I can't breathe. And then the next scene, he's walking into a crime scene with a decomposed body. He's like, I can't breathe. So that's funny, right? So that's where everybody is. She's been rotting for 12 days. And so it's like the stench is unbearable. And Randy is like, oh yeah. So she's, been here for 12 days. And then the CSI girl is like, "Oh, Lieutenant Disher, do you want some liniment cream? It helps with the smell." He's like, "This is not my first crime scene." I can't breathe. And this is the Natalie burn. She's like, "Are you trying to impress that CSI girl?" He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he's like, "Do you think that's attractive to her? Like, really? Do you think she's saying, why can't I meet an attractive 30-something non-smoker who's oblivious to the stench of rotting flesh?" Sick Natalie burn. And then later he says he's green with hunger.
Are you sure? You look green. Yeah, I'm just hungry.
Green with hunger. Never heard of that.
Monk's joke. Did you write that? Monk makes a joke about the incense. He's like,
"Oh, I didn't write that."
He's like, he's incensed for the incense. He's like, what is Natalie doing?
Oh,
she's doing something. She's not paying attention.
Oh, no. Remember, he asks, "Are you cooking bacon?" And he's smelling her. And she's like, "Does it look like I'm cooking bacon?" And he's like, "It's coming from outside." He's like, "Oh, God, it's incense." And then, what you're saying, he's
incensed to the incense or something. And he's like, because there's a D and
he's like,
forget it.
Yeah, he's like, "Get it? It's incensed with a D. Just whatever." Yeah, that was really good. Okay, I have... This crime wasn't half bad. I actually liked the crime. It was very and I would say I didn't think it was too complicated. Where, sometimes it's really complicated and it's hard for me to write the summation of how intertwined things are. But it was very which I will say you caught on. You said, "Oh, well, those cases are obviously connected." Whereas
they always are.
But exactly, they always are. But they always are. But anyways, what I thought was intriguing was the book that's laying open, and it's open to head wounds, and then she dies of a head wound, but it was open before she got hit. And so you're like, obviously, because you saw that too, you said, "Come on, Natalie, there's blood on the book." Yeah. But
it was an obvious one.
But we still didn't know what had happened. And the fact that he was driving and he hit on Sarah, then he went and killed the lady. And I liked it.
I liked the turnaround because you're like, why did he turn around?
Yeah, why did he turn around?
Yeah. Because he wanted to... Because they said because he didn't want to lose phone service.
Which wasn't true.
Which wasn't... It
right?
was true, though. Because he couldn't let her go to the scene or anything. He had to keep her on the phone so she couldn't, run.
But I think he was turning around to go to her house. He wasn't going... wasn't turning,
I know.
But he wasn't turning around because he was going to lose phone signal.
They were right, but they were also right. He didn't...
I was confused by that clue, honestly.
It was useless.
Yeah, I think that was a useless clue. I think that was
meant to throw us. I feel like they wrote it in and then, forgot about it.
Yeah, because he turned around, and I think Monk's supposed to think, oh, he didn't want to lose signal. He couldn't drop that call, but he actually turned around because he went back to kill her.
But it was true that he couldn't drop that call, so it was weird anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was weird.
That was weird. Yeah.
Dislikes.
Plot holes, dislikes. Okay.
This is mine, right?
Yeah.
I'm next? Okay. Natalie being hilarious to the foreigner. He's like, "Oh, you're so funny." What did she say? "Oh, he's getting down to 2 bags a month or 2 bags a day or something."
The first thing that she says is, "Do you drink coffee?" And he says, "Oh, yes, I love coffee." And she says, "Oh, you're going to hate this then." And he's like, "That's funny. What you said about the coffee. That was hilarious." And she's like, "Oh, thanks. And he's like, how are you so funny? She's like, I don't know, Mr. Monk. Am I funny? No. Like, she's so funny. Yes, and then later, after we've been introduced to the smoking bag, Randy's like, excuse me, sir, you can't have that in here. And he's like, oh no, I know the drill. I brought my smoking bag. And he gets the smoking bag out, and they're like, what the heck is that? And Natalie's like, yeah, he's trying to quit. He's down to 2 bags a day. And he's like, 2 bags instead of 2 packs. Did you see what she did? That was so funny. Natalie Teeger. Thank you, Natalie Teeger. You've taught me how to laugh again. And he picks her up and it's so sweet. It is so funny and so sweet. And you look around, the camera pans to all 3 of the other guys, and they're like, this is awkward because they're like, Natalie's not funny, but she was funny.
They were good jokes.
Yeah, they were good jokes, and he just laughed too hard at them, so it made yeah, exactly, yeah. Okay, Monk protecting and serving. Remember, he walks up to the table.
Oh yeah.
He walks up to the table. It gave me Mr. Monk is at your service vibes. He has the tray, and he has the suit or whatever, and they're like, no, you're not a waiter. We know you. You were at our house. You're with the police. And he's like, yeah, you see, I protect and serve. So in the daytime, I'm protecting as a police officer. And then at night, I serve. And she says, well, it's the daytime. And he's like, yeah, exactly. So anyway, and like sits down. And then at the end, the guy's like, oh, thanks. Can we see a wine list? No. And walks off. So yes, Monk protecting and serving. That is hilarious.
I love in the car whenever they're like about to die and they need Samuel and Monk. They're stuck in the car with the fish, and he's driving them in the middle of nowhere to kill them. And Daryl's like, I have an idea. Can you reach into my pants? And Monk's just like,
they're like tied up like this.
Yeah.
And he's like, can you reach into my pants? And they're like, look at each other for like
10
seconds of dead silence. And he's like,
what is the chances?
What were the chances of that? Let me turn. Okay, this is good. My mom is getting a viewer's voice in.
Oh no.
For later. Okay, this is good.
Let's see it.
It's gonna be good. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so they've got, we said it, but they're staring at each other for like 10 seconds. And I'm like, do you remember what he says? He's like, can you reach into my pants?
And he's like, yes.
He's like,
he says it really quietly.
Like, yes. that is really good. That is really good.
I'm done with likes.
Are you done? Oh gosh. Okay.
Do you have a lot?
I do have a lot. I wrote down Samuel's adorable moments. Okay, so the very first time they meet, Toby, what are you doing?
I texted him to bring me my water.
Oh my gosh, Toby.
For some reason, he came in on all fours.
Toby's delivery service. Okay. Okay, so when they first meet, right? He invites Samuel up to his apartment because he feels for him. His wife died or whatever. And then Monk says, I have some juice. And he says, that's very nice for you. He's like, no, I'm offering you juice. Okay. And then, of course, the smoking bag. Oh, no, he starts smoking. And he said, oh, I'm sorry. Did you not say to make myself at home, or did I misunderstand? And then he's like, hang on, let me get this. And then so he makes the smoking bag, and he's like looking at him like he's crazy. And then he's like, this is ingenious. Is this new? And he's like, yes, brand new. And he's like, this would be a hit in Nigeria. And he's like, yep, it's pretty good. And then, of course, we have all the Natalie stuff, 2 bags a day. And then, okay, this is my favorite line. I hope my mom didn't say this one. She might have. I don't feel bad if I say it. Hang on, let me see what my mom said. Okay, so my mom did not say my favorite line. Okay, good. This is when Monk and Samuel are at the laundromat and they're washing clothes. And Monk has this elaborate system of all the different things that he's been doing. And he's like, what? How are you're going to wash all these clothes? How much is it going to cost you? And he's like, $200. And he's like, what? And he starts loading the clothes in. And Samuel says, I've been watching the Friends on TV for years. This is not how they do it. Like, what Friends? And he's like, the TV show Friends. Jennifer Aniston, Lisa Kudrow. And Monk says, yeah, we don't get the African TV here. Oh, I can't with that line. That is so good. Okay,
I thought you were going to say the pre-wash cycle.
No, that's a good one. gosh. The lady, are you using all of these machines? And he's like, yes, it is the pre-wash cleansing cycle. The what? The pre-wash cleansing cycle. If you're going to live in this country, you need to learn the customs. And he's like, Adrian Monk, what does that mean? That finger? And he's like, it means we're number one and we need to hurry up. Oh my gosh, the whole laundry scene. And I'll get into his laundry list later because I wrote that down too. So yes, that's my absolute favorite line. As you know, I love Friends as well. So a good Friends reference, you're going to sell me on that for sure. Okay. And then this one is hilarious too. When they're in the kitchen, they are dishwashers, and the chef comes up and he's like, I need these plates. Where are these plates? And he says, well, we did this fork and this knife. And he's like, what are you doing? And he's French. He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, we're washing them American style. And the chef's like, what the hell is that? And what's wrong with these potatoes? You were supposed to peel them. They're diced. like they look like dice. And Monk goes, American style, American style. And he's like, American style? Quit saying that. Oh my gosh, it is so funny. Okay, and then we have the back of the truck, like you mentioned with the fish. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Adrian Monk, please quit mentioning the smell. And he's like, okay. And he's like, can I say something? Is it about to stink? Yes! It stinks. It smells so bad. Adrian Monk, please, you sound like a crying infant child. And then he says, what does he say? He's like, Trudy would want you to fight. And Adrian's like, this is your last lesson. In America, we cry. And then we confuse our dead wives with other people's dead wives. And then we give up. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then when they get out of the truck and they push down Kenneth Nichols on the ground, and it's they push him down with the carts, and Samuel starts and punching him in the face, and then he pulls out his wallet and he's like, this is Ansara, you say her name, and he's like, Ansara, and it's a really great moment. And then Monk pulls out and he's like, this is Trudy, you say her name, and he's like, I didn't know her, and he's like, say it. And he's like, okay, Trudy. And then they both feel like, and then they share that moment. Oh my gosh, I can't. And the first moment too, where he's showing the files to Samuel, and they just have that really, really touching. I cried on that one, not gonna lie. I watched it by myself, and I got teary-eyed, and yes. And you also were making jokes about the different Trudy and everything, so
because it was stupid.
You weren't.
I didn't like it. Biggest dislike.
You weren't in the moment. Okay, my very last one. I'm almost done. My very last one is the end of the episode. Oh my gosh. What a great ending. How many times do we see Monk get the win? This is such a bittersweet because Samuel gets his answers to his wife's death, and then he asks him, what's it like? And he says, knowing is everything. And then he gets in the cab and the music plays and they wave. And he says, "There's no." And he gives him the clarinet.
I
he gives him the flute. Yeah, and then he's like, there's no better friend than Adrian Monk, and he says, "There's no better friend than Samuel Wengaye," and then he gives him thing. Yeah, and then also he gives Natalie gives him the CDs, and she's like, "This is Monty Python, Richard Pryor, and Bill Cosby. If you think I'm funny, these guys are gonna rock your world." And he says, "I know all of these guys. None of them are as funny as Natalie Teeger." Oh, I can't with this episode. Oh my gosh,
that was good.
Okay, I'm done. That was a lot.
Finally. Oh my gosh.
It's not my fault you didn't write down every single thing Samuel said.
Here's the thing. I don't have a lot of dislikes. They're just kind of spread out. Mm-hmm. Basic. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Actually, you can go first.
Oh, okay. We had a lot of bad CGI in this one.
Did we? I did not catch it. I didn't catch it.
Well, you kind of did because you kept saying, "Are they in front of a green screen? Are they in front of a green screen?"
Oh, that? I forgot about that. I might have written that down.
Obviously, there also was a part where they were on the bridge, and they were supposed to be on the San Francisco bridge, and the bad guy is driving them in the van when they're in the back of the truck.
Oh, really?
And he's driving, and there's a shot where they're on the San Francisco bridge. Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah. Don't pay attention.
Oops.
Anyways,
I did pay attention because I did see the bad green screen. So.
And then at the beginning, which we will get into, but the house shot when Monk is talking down to Samuel, the whole thing is like really fake. Wherever Adrian is speaking out of is fake. So
yeah,
that was the bad CGI. I mean, again, it's not an action show, so it's not like you expect much, but it's something that stands out.
Yeah.
So
I agree. How come Mr. Monk and what is that one called? It was Layla.
Mr. Monk falls in love.
Mr. Monk falls in love. I feel like they could have picked a better name for this one. I feel like they could have been like Mr. Monk and the other wife or something. Mr. Monk and the other widow. What's that called? What's that person called? Widower.
A widower, yeah.
Mr. Monk and the widower.
That's not good.
Okay, but Mr. Monk and the foreigner.
Actually, I think
The
Mr. Monk and
Foreign
the Foreigner is better.
Mr. Monk and the foreign man. No, it's not.
No, it's not? Really?
It's not. Because it's too broad. I don't like when they give us broad things. I like when they give us situations, but not things like that. Like Mr. Monk in a building. Like, it's stupid. Just name it like Mr. Monk.
But then we got like mad that it was like Mr. Monk and the bad girlfriend. Because it was like, oh, great, you're telling us that the girlfriend is bad. But if you say Mr. Monk and the widower, then you know like, oh, he's hanging out with a guy whose wife was dead. Like, it's broad
not
enough.
Mr. Monk and the foreign man. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying we've had foreign characters on the show before, and they have not been recognized as foreigners in the title.
You know what, though? That's a good point, but also you have to think about the fact that Monk was teaching him American customs the whole time. So it wasn't just about the fact that he was Nigerian. It was that was the whole theme of their friendship. And then at the end, where they're calling each other, like, no better friend than whatever, like, he taught him what he knows about America, even though it was all wrong.
Yeah.
It was like he was a foreigner, so. I get what you're saying, because I don't really like the title either, if I'm being honest. I mean, because
I just think there could be a better one.
It doesn't, like, live up to the episode, I think. Like,
yeah.
Like Mr. Monk and the Kid, you're like,
Mr. Monk and the Kid. Mr. Monk and the Hit and Run or something.
And then Mr. Monk is on the run, hit and run. Yeah. Okay. Did you put Ansara was killed? That you didn't like that? Because that was...
Oh, I didn't really care. No, I'm just kidding.
You were sad. You were like watching them and you were like, oh, she's nice. And then you were like, wait, her husband's going to die. He's going to die. When she was talking to him on the phone. Yeah. And then you were like, oh, wait, she's going to die. Oh, no. I love watching it with you because I just hear everything, your thoughts are all out loud. So, yeah, but it was obviously sad. She was so sweet, like I said before. You know, she was sweet. And it's just like kind of, you know, it's a little shocking when she's, you know, someone has to die. Mm-hmm. But you're like, oh, she's so sweet. Maybe her husband's going to die. Yeah. And then, no. She gets hit by a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My next dislike is the turnaround tip. We actually talked about this already.
The what?
The turnaround clue.
Oh, you didn't like that because it didn't make sense? Yeah. Like, because of what we said?
It was just... Because it's not like a plot hole. Like, it doesn't make sense that happened. Mm. It was just... Didn't make sense to put it in the script, really. Like, for them to go make the connection of being like... He turned around because he couldn't drop the call. But that wasn't why he turned around. Mm-hmm. But he couldn't drop the call. But those two don't really, you know, match up. So,
yeah.
That was... Yeah. We already talked about it, so...
Yeah. Okay. My next one is Randy holding his breath. You guys know how I feel about, like, Mr. Monk is underwater.
Oh, yeah.
And how I feel, like, claustrophobic when he was, like... Like, it was bad enough everybody else was already like this, but he was like, I can't breathe. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And then he, like, goes outside because he's trying to impress the girl. And he's, like, goes outside and he's like... Just checking out some evidence. You remember all
I
this,
do
right?
remember all
Okay,
of
yeah.
that. But really?
I mean, I was watching your face and you were like this. So I'm pretty sure that you were feeling something. You were
that's
like,
true. Jason Gray Stanford is just like the best actor ever.
isn't he the best? What a nice guy.
He made us feel some type of way, Candace.
He's just so good as Randy Disher. Who would have thought? Okay, do you have any more?
I have two more. I have one more.
Okay, I have one more.
Okay, I'll go first. In America, we mix our dead wives with other people's dead wives. I hated the dead wives thing, where I think I did it. Where did I write this? Oh, I wrote it in my rate this episode, but I'll say it now. I think Monk confuses and Sarah for Trudy would be better if it wasn't so forced. I feel like it would have been better if he was like angry the entire time and we didn't really know why, and he was like really comforting to the foreigner, but he was always angry and we didn't really know why, and then he slips up and calls her Trudy instead of doing it like the entire time and then making jokes about it, and then because it felt like he was doing it on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, not like a psychological thing. Like, he was just messing with him or something. I don't know. I just didn't sit right with me. And, yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like how he made a joke about it.
All right, this is funny because I have the same but also the exact opposite thing of what you said. Okay, so I didn't remember this.
You mean like?
No, this is a dislike, but I have the same thing as you, but different. So wait for it. Okay, I have the same thing because I put that, for one, I didn't remember this, but I didn't like that they made Monk so engulfed by the case because of Trudy and how they mixed them up. Mm-hmm. I thought that the storyline with Samuel was strong enough to stand on its own without adding the extra personal storyline of Trudy. Like, they could have left it out entirely. Like how you said, they could have made him angry. I think they could have just left it out entirely. Obviously, he bonds with someone whose wife has died. He does that all the time. I don't remember when he, like, mixes them up, like, calls them Trudy or something, but, like...
He does it the entire time.
Okay, but, like, remember, like, when the captain's wife gets shot, and he's like, oh, now I understand. Like, well, yeah, like, I get it. Or in The Psychic, when the guy's wife dies at the beginning, and he's like, I wouldn't have packed up all those boxes so quick, you know. So, anyway, so there's times where he relates to people all the time whose spouses... Natalie, her husband died, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think that it's obvious without, like you said... putting it in your face by calling her Trudy and all of this. But I liked the joke at the end because that made it, like, all those lines that he had said the whole time, that one line actually made it all okay for me. Because we complain about this often where we're like, you know, you could have had, like, a storyline like the Daredevil, and you didn't have to make it so, like, dark and sad and like, mopey. And it's like, they were doing that. And then at the end, when he's like, and we confuse our own dead wives with other people's dead wives. Mm-hmm. Like, it was obviously supposed to be a funny thing to negate all of the sad, deep stuff that had happened the rest of the time. So I personally liked the joke. I think they could have left all of it out. But I liked that they put the joke at the end because then it was like, oh, and then the resolution of the whole episode was perfect, like perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. Like, knowing is everything. Like, they went back like, okay, forget all the Trudy stuff. That was silly. I shouldn't have done that. But how is it now that you know what happened to your wife? It's everything. And I think it ended fine. I think it was unnecessary, but I think they summed it up fine.
I think it was unnecessary, and I don't think it matters how we summed it up. So,
well, but you would have to admit that they could have messed it up. I don't know how, but I mean, like we said, there's other serious things they could have messed it up.
They did mess it up. That was my dislike, Candace.
No, I'm saying, but at the end of the episode, like, they could have messed it up, like, all together. That's what I think. I stand by what I say, and you stand by what you say, and that's fine. I don't need to come at you because I'm right and you're wrong. I
feel like you confused everyone with what you just said.
That I'm right and you're wrong? They're not confused by that. Trust me. They're used to that. Okay, let's
Wow, okay. Unganye.
All right.
Unganye.
He's the guy. That's what, in case you didn't get the joke. Unless it went, whew. We were saying he's the guy.
Went, hew, hew. Unless it went over your head is what you tried to say.
In case that went over your head. Unless the Oh my gosh, okay. Do you have anybody?
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay, go ahead.
I have one. You were there. Sure.
Oh, yeah. No, I just saw it.
Okay, so he's the guy is the grocery store clerk. And initially, I didn't see anything. I wasn't like, oh, I know him. I don't know. It was just coincidence, really. But I looked at Mr. Monk Buys a House for a plot hole. Because, I needed to prove or disprove something. So I used it as a reference. And I looked, and I was like, hey, that's him.
That's like the very first scene, like back from the credits.
Yeah.
You were like, wait a second. Is that guy the same? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
Boom.
it was Burl Mosley. And like he said, he played the grocery store clerk.
Yep.
And I had jotted him down before, but he was on an episode of 24 and Fresh Off the Boat.
Oh, wow.
And then in Mr. Monk Buys a House, like I said, he's in the very first scene, and he is a police officer. So he played a grocery store clerk, and then he played a police officer and then a grocery store clerk. So that's kind of some backwards character development.
What was the cops doing there? What were the cops doing there?
Monk was complaining about the little girl playing the piano, and so they went and they were like, the same guy's complaining.
That's not a plot hole for Mr. Monk and the
Buys a House.
No, Mr. Monk and the Mr. Monk.
What are you talking
and
about?
The old lady and the
and the lady next door.
And the lady next door.
Yeah.
I was like, the neighbor, the old lady next door.
Yeah.
But basically, my plot hole for Lady Next Door is that they didn't care about her noise complaint. But some little girl playing the piano is all hot stuff, apparently.
Oh, well, no, they cared about Monk's noise complaint.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't care about,
the little girl was a bunch of hot stuff, apparently, is what I'm trying to say.
But they were trying to stop her from playing, so anyway.
She's hot stuff, Candace.
They're trying to stop her from playing.
As in criminal
Monk is
activity.
hot stuff. No, because they wouldn't listen to the old lady about the noise complaint, but they would listen to Monk, and so the cops are listening to Monk and going.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right. So the only other person that I had was Gregory Sporletter, who played Kenneth Nichols, the bad guy. Right? He was in an episode of 24, and also me and Toby watched this. We were on vacation and we watched this a few weeks ago, but it was 17 again.
Dang it.
Yeah,
I watched that.
You wouldn't have guessed that. But 17 Again, which is a really cute movie with Matthew Perry.
Zac Efron.
Yes. Matthew Perry from Friends. And Zac Efron.
Oh, yeah.
And Gregory Sporletter plays a basketball scout from Ohio. Ohio State or something. And he's I guess he's watching Zac Efron play or whatever.
And Jim Gaffigan's in it as the coach.
Oh, okay.
Gaffigan?
That's Gaffigan, yeah.
Oh, it is Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Wow, sorry.
And then also, Gregory is in an episode of Friends. It is the one where Ross moves in, and this is an older one, and Gregory plays a restaurant inspector, which I thought was interesting because he's the restaurant owner in this one, in this episode of Monk. Yeah, so he's a restaurant inspector, and he tricks Monica into losing some points, and then Phoebe thinks it's sexy. And so she's like, oh, you could shut her down, couldn't you? And then so he's like, do you want to go out to eat? And she's like, well, yeah, you know all the clean places. And then at the end, he gets he starts shutting everything down, and he tries to shut down Central Perk. And Phoebe's like, oh, you can't shut down our coffee shop. And so she ends up breaking up with him because he gets a big head and starts trying to shut everybody down. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I'm actually done with He's the Guy.
Junk time! Welcome back to my favorite time and yours on the show where I eat junk and Kandyce asks me questions.
All right. So, my first question for you... Oh, wait. No, our junk. So, we finished these. What did you think about this?
It tasted minty, and it wasn't supposed to taste minty.
What does yours look like? Or is it gone? Oh, no, yours looks like chocolate, but look at mine. It's the icing
That's how whenever I made it.
It's gross. I don't like it. Well, because I don't like icing.
I like icing.
So it tastes like icing.
It tastes like cake.
So, but it did work. Like, it worked with water. It worked fine. Yeah. But in the spirit of the smoking bag, we are going to try some cigarettes.
Have I had cigarettes on the show before?
I don't think so.
I feel like I have.
Have you? I honestly don't
know.
remember. I haven't.
Play the clip of me in likes whenever I said I would like to try a cigarette. Very funny, Noah. Good stuff. What? It's not brown?
It's a chocolate cigarette, so it's...
Do you have to unwrap it?
I don't know what you do. I don't know. Are you supposed to chew on the paper? That's kind of weird, huh?
No, I don't think so.
I think I'm just going to act like I'm smoking it. And then I can blow it. Look. Watch.
I can.
This is how this works. Perfect. You have a smoking bag, too.
Oh, my gosh. Can I have my...
Okay.
I unwrapped mine.
Of course, you wanted the chocolate. I just
like
Is it gross?
When chocolate's too strong, I don't like it, but...
Oh. Well, yeah, see, then you just lick it. Like that. Good. Okay, my first question is, have you ever had to teach anyone about your culture?
No.
Are you sure?
I don't think I know anything about my culture. Actually...
I feel like maybe. Have you ever had to help, like, a new kid in school or anything? Like, show them around or, like, talk to a new kid about, like, oh, this is how we do this? Or...
Yeah, I guess. I've been, like, walking with some new kid and during dismissal or something. And I don't know if public schools do this. They probably do. Never mind. We're just walking during dismissal and I'll just walk new kids to where they need to go. Because they don't know what they're doing. But yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. Well, see?
What about you?
There you go. I have. Actually, this is going to sound like I'm 5. My second best friend. Because I have a best friend. But this girl is my second best friend. She's from Sri Lanka. And in high school, freshman year of high school, she came to America.
Sri Lanka?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She was actually in my wedding. Good, and she was in the second spot. Second best friend.
Wow. How have I never heard of this?
Yeah, so she's Sri Lankan, and she came to our school in freshman year, and we had our, we talked about her. Oh, never mind. I can't say that. I don't think.
Sri Lanka.
I won't say that. I've told a story about her before, but I won't say what story it was. I'll tell you later. But anyway, so So she's from Sri Lanka, right? But she went to a British school, so she knew English and everything, but she didn't know a lot of the American like customs, like what we did or whatever. And I remember one thing specifically. We went to a track meet and we got out of school early because it was cool. So we're like, she wasn't really used to that. We're going around, and we were throwing discus. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, she's tall, so we were throwing discus. She has long arms and stuff. And so we were walking to the cage where people are throwing, and I was like, oh yeah, let's go school these guys. And she was like, let's go what? And I was like, we're going to go school these guys. And she was like, we're going to go scald them? Like scold them? Like we're going to yell at them? And I was like...
Scold?
Like, that's what scold is, right?
Yeah.
When you yell at someone? Yeah. And she was trying to figure out what I was saying. And I was like, no, like, school them. Like, like, teach them who's boss. Like, show them what's up. And she was like, I do not... That is not a phrase. And then so and it's funny because she would say, like, oh, we don't say that in my country. And so I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, that's, how it goes. And so I can't think of any other instances,
The way you're holding the cigarette is just... I mean, yeah, I just don't... I want another one. I want to hold it.
Okay. We're down to 2 bags a day, guys. 2 bags a day.
Boo. I'm not even gonna do it.
You're bumming one off me. It's like you're bumming a cigarette. Well, I'm actually licking the chocolate when I put it in my mouth.
I know how to do tricks, Candace. So,
is this like you know how to do magic tricks, or you're making this up too?
Smoke trick. No.
Oh. Like you have to imagine the rings.
No.
They were perfect. No, I'm going to insert them. Insert rings. Smoke rings.
Candace.
Yeah.
So you go like this for any smokers out there. Vapors, whatever. Don't ask me how I know this. So you inhale. We'll keep it in there.
That's on grease.
Pretend there's a sugar. I'm pretty sure this is like very a normal thing.
And it blows out like sideways? Like
No.
creepy like?
No.
Okay, fine. I'll stop guessing.
Okay.
I thought I knew what you were talking about. So it's on grease.
Inhale. And open your mouth. You don't want to blow out nothing. Open your mouth. It'll go out. And then you suck it through your nose.
Ew.
And then it's like, and then you suck, and then it goes. And it's cool, and they go through in like little.
Ew, that's disgusting.
Candace, it's a smoke trick.
Oh, okay.
You're not a smoker? Get with it, Candace.
It's gotta be more natural. You're like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people.
It's like this. You go like this.
We're so bad. Guys, obviously don't smoke, okay? We're just, if you want to like look cool like us, get candy cigarettes.
Candy cigarettes.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, so long story short, I would ask her all the time if she didn't do something. I would say, oh, do they not do that in your country? Because she kept telling me like, oh, we don't do that in my country. Oh, we don't do that in my country. And then so like, I would say like, oh, do you want water? And she's like, no, thanks. And I'm like, oh, do they not have that in your country? So it was funny. It was a funny joke that we had. And then like one day she said something about like, I'm going to get my hair I'm going to get my hair cut or something like that. And I was like, and she goes, and it's not because it's in my country. It was so funny. But we were best friends. We were just messing around. So it was funny though. Okay. Has anybody ever had to teach you about their culture?
I don't know anyone, like, out of the country. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't really have to be anything, like, actual country culture.
Yeah, no.
But I don't get it, either. I don't really... I feel like it's stupid just talking about this. Because it's just, like, such small stuff that doesn't even matter. But it's just, like, I guess if I had to say something...
Yeah.
People teach me how to play video games sometimes if I haven't played them yet.
Oh, okay.
Wow. That was a dumb question.
How was that a dumb question?
Because it's stinky.
I have an example.
Just like the smoke. Candace, you need to open a window or something.
It's getting stuffy in here. No, actually in college though I took American Sign Language. And so there's a whole deaf culture. Mm-hmm. And so we had to actually, we had to learn about deaf culture in class. And then as part of our curriculum, our teacher made us go to a local coffee shop, and we had to there were deaf people there because it's called a deaf chat. And so like they have deaf chats like tons of places, like they'll meet up at Starbucks or wherever, and it's a deaf people because they have their own culture. Mm-hmm. And so they get together and they sign and stuff. So we would go there as part of our class, and we would sign to them, and then they would, if we were doing something wrong, they would help us like with our hand shapes or like, and they'd sign to us, and we'd be like, slow down, please slow down. Can you say that again? Can you say that again? Can you say that again? Because they sign so fast and stuff. So yeah, so definitely have learned a lot about deaf culture.
That's cool.
Yeah, so not a dumb question. Moving on.
No, I'm just saying they're dumb questions for me, and you make me seem dumb because they're catering to you. I should make the question someday.
I would love that.
You know what? Next.
Well, how is that a threat?
Next episode.
I come up with a question and you go, that's dumb. And I'm like, all right, then come up with your own question.
Okay,
it's a deal.
One episode.
Okay, it's a deal.
One episode. This isn't an on and off thing because I made that mistake with here's what happened. I was like, Cutest, can I do it once? And then she was like, sure, but now we have to alternate every time. And so now I'm stuck doing that. Here's what happened, and it takes me 40 takes.
This is true. Okay. Now, I had somebody reach out to us and ask if we were going to do a viewer's voice, okay?
Who?
Well, it's for next week. So,
no,
listen. But we didn't do viewer's voice at all in season 7. We did in season 6, but not season 7. It honestly is just extra work for me. So that's why, because I would have to ask you guys way before, because we're like a month ahead. So it was kind of complicated for me to do it, and it was really hard for me to remember. So, but since this is our last season, I'm going to try my best to remember to do viewer's voice. Okay, so if you want to submit stuff for season 8, go ahead and do it, because we're at the end. So just go ahead. Okay, people? Okay?
By the time people were saying this, we're almost done.
No.
We're like done. Episode 10. Right?
No, I don't think so.
What episode?
This is episode 2, so we'd be in episode like
8.
Yeah, 7, probably 6. Yeah, not that far, guys. It's not that far in advance.
Candace, watch this.
I'll be on Insta. That goes like this. Put the ashes into the coffee cup. Yeah. We are so cool. I can't even handle how cool we are. We need a freeze frame for the. So bad. We're gonna get blocked. I don't know. Can you smoke nowadays? Okay, so we're gonna start off with the viewer's voice from my mother and my sister, because again, this is my mom's favorite episode. So I asked her what is her favorite scene, and she said, "Oh gosh, I have several." When Monk gives him the smoking bag. Oh, when Monk gives him the bag and calls it a smoking bag. Mm-hmm. And when Natalie makes the joke about him being down to 2 bags a day. And then my sister said she remembers the smoking bag, and then also the scene where they're in the trunk of the van and Monk is using a lighter to burn the rope. And she says the dialogue is, what is that awful stench? And he says, my flesh, it's burning. And he says, it stinks. And he's like, sorry. So yes, so that's my mom's favorite thing is the smoking bag. My sister's is the burning flesh. So there's our first viewer's voice for season 8. So we'll get you again next week.
Family's voice.
Family's voice. All right. Oh my gosh. One last thing. Check out our bracelets.
Oh!
These bracelets are from Keaton Jones. She sent us, if you want to send us stuff in the mail, hit us up and we'll let you know our mailing address. But look at these bracelets. She won the Mystery Monk box and she got some of the materials to make the belt that Natalie has in the episode. And she sent us these really cool bracelets and they have 10 beads in them, alternating, because 10. And she made me a pink one and Noah a blue one. So, thank you, Keaton. We love them.
We do love them. I've been wearing mine for the past 2 days and I forget about it. Because I'm just wearing it all the time. It's part of me now.
We wore them for our interview.
We did with Jason Gray Stanford.
We did.
You might be able to notice them.
Maybe. We don't know. I don't know. Yeah. But, all right. Junk time is over.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep.
Plot holes. All right. How many plot holes do you have?
I think I have 2. That's it.
Okay. I actually have quite a few plot holes that you mentioned that I put down. So I'm going to give some to you if you don't mention these, okay?
Okay.
All right. The first one is this, not really a plot hole, but the smoking bag is kind of useful, but doesn't the smoke from the cigarette, isn't that part of what smells too?
Because you could see the smoke like coming out while he was like smoking into it, like he was breathing into it.
Yeah.
It was like...
But even like the smoke like on the cigarette, like you said,
actively burning.
He's doing this, and then he blows in, and it kind of. But this is just sitting there, smoking up the house.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was just I was like, that's. And like it's cute and it's kind of useful, but it's not really foolproof. So
I only have one actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, talked about this earlier. In my He's the Guy, whenever I was talking about how I randomly stumbled onto this He's the Guy.
Yeah.
But the house never matches up ever to the outside building or the building surrounding it. But now we know he lives across from a gas station, which doesn't really matter because it'll probably change for the next episode. Because it doesn't, if you look at the floor layout, it doesn't even make sense while you're watching it. Because even if you don't compare it to other episodes, which if you do, it's just completely wrong. But even in this episode, the door is on a wall that is just leading outside. Which makes 0 sense. It's like, it's hard to explain because there's just so many things that are wrong with it that it doesn't even matter if I explain it or not. But basically, the floor layout's wrong.
So you've got the window, like, there's the window here. Sorry, if you're on YouTube, you're going to see this. If not, you're going to be like, what the heck? There's the window here and the window here. The window he's looking at Samuel out of, that kind of made sense. There's a window on the other side, which is the window he looks at buys a house. Now, again, if you look across the street, like when Sarah's walking across and stuff, like you can see that that's not like a house like they make it look like. So that's kind of plot holy in itself.
Yeah.
But then his front door is supposed to be on this other wall, but the entrance to, like on a completely opposite wall. But the entrance to his apartment is supposedly down here in this little vestibule thing. So, yeah.
And also,
that's the best way I could explain it. And I know if you're listening to the audio, you can't get that at all. But I tried.
Also, there's like greenery right outside of Monk's house and buys a house. And there's nowhere to even put greenery.
Yeah. And in this one there's nowhere to put greenery because there's no planters.
Yeah.
And, you're right. Yep, that's a good one. Good catch. Okay. So this is again not really a plot hole. It's just kind of a callback. But since the 100th case, they've really been pushing that picture go back thing, picture go back, picture go regular thing. And again, we already like saw the plot hole, so it's like now, you know what I mean? Like now they're pushing it even more. He doesn't know, but he knew. And then also this is a really small one, but the CSI girl, she touches the lieutenant on the shoulder and she's like, "Are you okay? You're green." And I'm like, didn't you touch, like, dead bodies with that glove? Like, isn't she, like, touching dead bodies? And, like, she's the CSI girl. They, like...
Isn't she the girl who does the... I feel like she was... No. Because how do they apply the thing? The thing you put in your lip.
Oh, the liniment.
Liniment.
Yeah.
How do they apply that?
Yeah, with your finger, and you put it, like...
So she'd give it to me, and I'd go like this.
Yeah, I think so.
She wouldn't go.
I think Natalie dipped her finger in it and put it on her hand. I think Natalie went like that, dipped it like it was like lip gloss. She put it on her hand and then she smelled it. But most people they take it out like lip gloss, but they put it over their lip so that it smells right underneath their nose.
That is so cool.
Yeah. But I just thought it was gross because it's like CSI gloves. What have you been touching with that? I don't know. I just caught that and I was like, yeah, that's kind of gross. And then this is another one. Remember when Monk is supposedly really upset about Trudy or whatever, and Stottlemeyer's like, Natalie says you've missed 2 Dr. Bell appointments. And I'm like, Monk misses more sessions when he is upset. Like, usually he, like, goes to more sessions.
Yeah.
Not misses sessions. Like, that's, like, really, really rare that he would ever miss a session for anything.
That's true. That's a good catch. That is a really good catch.
I thought that was... and then... so some of the ones here, I'll show you because you said this one flat out.
Oh, yeah. So in the dry cleaners, Monk and Samuel are washing clothes. And he's like, so you got your whites, your off-whites. Or did he say off-whites? Mm-hmm. your whites, your off-whites, your really, really off-whites, and then your primary colors. Red, yellow, and green.
Yeah.
It's red, yellow, and blue. It goes red, yellow, green, blue. So why...
And indigo.
And indigo. Like, what? You couldn't have just...
Yeah.
And it was that many just plain red colored things. And blue colored things. And green colored things. Nobody. I'll tell you who.
Yeah. The only thing I thought of like a plot hole for that is just that if they're... Because they're not Adrian's clothes. They're Samuel's clothes. So, you know, his attire is a bit different. But yeah, nobody has that many solid colors.
Yeah.
He's not running like a sports team or something. No. Yeah,
like
no.
red socks and like blue socks.
Yeah, no. Socks. That's a good point. That's one that I missed actually, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's see. Oh, I think this is my last one, and it's actually a good one, which is at the end Samuel gives him the flute, and the reason I called it a clarinet was because Willie Nelson gave him his clarinet, and then later I think Benji. It might be Julie, but it might be Benji. I'm not sure. Says like, what happened to your clarinet that Willie Nelson gave you or whatever? And he says, oh, I had to throw it out because he put his mouth on it. And so when he gives him this, he's not like, oh, this is gross. He's like, I will cherish this forever.
Wait, what? When does what's his face say that?
When does Monk say that?
Benji or...
I can't remember if it's Benji or Julie. But Monk is explaining like, oh yeah, I met Willie Nelson once. Yeah, he gave me his clarinet. And they're like, oh cool, can I see it? And he's like, no, I threw it away. He put his mouth on it. It's probably cool. Julie when they met or something. Yeah. Because Benji would have known that. Probably.
Yeah.
So it's probably Julie. But yeah. I thought that was an okay one. Because he was acting like it was like, oh yes, I love this. Whenever we know Samuel was blowing on it. So he would totally have thrown that away. So, I don't know.
That was a good one.
Just a little one. All right. How crazy was Monk this episode?
Plus crazy moments.
Okay. Out of 10, what?
Out of 10, grains of rice.
Really?
I also have another one.
Okay.
Out of 10, broken headlights. Broken headlights.
Oh, wow. You picked some obscure ones.
Obscure?
Yeah. I put out of 10 bags a day. Mm-hmm. And then I put out of 10 pre-wash cleansing cycles.
That's a good one. How about out of 10? Oh, no, I just thought of it. What was it? Out of 10 poissons bleus.
Out of 10 poissons.
Out of 10 poissons.
Okay.
I want to do that one so I can say it a lot.
Okay. Poissons. Okay. All right. So, crazy moments. Monk reads too fast. Are you cooking bacon? Incensed. Get it? Whatever. It's 7:45. People are trying to sleep. They are? It's so funny. It's like, yeah. Some people. Okay. He says ansara means sunflower. And what does Adrian mean? It means he never get picked for softball in 7th grade. Of course, the smoking bag. He asks the kids, what were you guys doing, slacking off? He tells what does he say? Oh, I used to be a cop. I'm not anymore. And they're like, what happened? And he's like, what's the long story? Oh, we got time. He's like, okay, well, I was psychologically discharged. I was like, they don't care. And he's like, oh, okay. We have his laundry list. It's whites, off-whites, off-whites, primary colors red, yellow, green, blue. That's indigo. Left socks, right socks. He pays $200 for them. And, of course, the pre-wash cleansing cycle. The African TV. Friends. We don't get the African TV. American style. 1 fork, 1 knife, and diced potatoes. Protect and serve. The chemical warfare. It's chemical warfare. First the incense, then the dead body, and now the fish.
Chemical warfare.
And then, of course, his final lesson. We cry. We confuse our dead wives with other people's dead wives. And then we give up. love them so much. I love so much. Okay. All right. Out of 10.
Poisson. Let me see my rating. Out of 10 poisson, I gave it 6 poisson.
6%?
6%. So
it sounds like percent.
6%. Is it
7%? Or 6%?
How do you say set? Cinq, sept, siete.
Didn't you learn French in like kindergarten?
Yeah, I think so.
Un, deux, trois, quatre,
Did you?
fata, centa, and uchenta. I did not learn French.
Okay, you didn't. It's cinq. All I know is 5. French to 10. How do you explain that?
What?
1 to 10 in French.
How to count to 10 in French. This thing is loud.
Oh, great. It shows 8. 8 I did. Remember 8? 8, 9, 10. I remember those.
Okay.
I could say it, kid.
Okay, go ahead.
If it doesn't freaking... 6. Set was 7.
Count to 10.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, I have to do the hand motions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What? Let's go. Okay, so out of 10, la poisson bleu.
It is 6 poisson bleu.
All right, out of 10 bags a day, I gave him 7. Because he mixed up his dead wife with someone else's dead wife. And American style. He American styled everything.
I agree.
For Samuel.
I agree.
So I gave him 7. So, not bad. All right, final segment.
Wait. Is Adrian a good name? Because Monk roasted his own name, but I was trying to make the case to my brother the other day that Adrian was a good name. So
Adrian was a good name? I mean, I'm not going to diss anybody's name. There's people out there who's... I used to have an uncle, Adrian.
But is it like if you named your child? Not it, like, would you be happy
I have a friend named Adrian, too.
naming your child Adrian?
It's a girl. I have a friend that's a girl named
Girl
Adrian.
Adrian?
Mm-hmm. Huh.
Immediately lame? No. There are girl Noahs, so.
That's true. I've never met a boy Kandyce, though.
Yeah,
that's weird.
If your name isn't unisex, that's kind of weird. Like that's.
I've seen boy Sloans, but
boy Sloans, Post Sloan.
What'd you say?
Post Sloan.
All right, final segment.
Rate this episode.
All right, Noah, am I going first or are you going first?
You can go first. Whoa, this is weird.
Did you change your hair? Why does it look like that?
What does
Has it always looked like that?
What?
I just noticed it.
What?
Okay. Maybe it did always look like that. I don't know.
It's like this? What? I think so. I might just put...
All right.
Yeah, it's always looked like this. What do you mean?
Okay, sorry then. Jeez. Okay.
I feel like we're in like a second dimension right now. Like multiple like reality. You know that theory? What is like
theory of relativity.
Yeah. I really don't know.
Okay. I'll go first. This episode is not a classic, I don't think, but it is for me and my family. I cannot say enough about this episode. I absolutely love it. It is hilarious. It is sweet. It is emotional. And it has some action because Samuel gets to, punch the guy pretty good. This case is actually pretty good to me. It's intricate with the housekeeper and the phone and with the head wounds and the book. To me, this hits all the beats. It has a great story, a great relationship, a great win, and fantastic comedy. And the Friends reference is always going to do extra brownie points from me. So, start all my episodes off of Monk with a 10, and it only goes up from there. All right?
10 point?
10 point. So, I'm giving this up a 10, not point. Giving it 2 10s, people. 2 10s. Perfect score. There you go.
Wow.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Is that an expression?
If you will. Yes, it is an expression.
Put it in your pipe and smoke it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Okay. I didn't like Monk and Trudy, switching those up. Or Trudy and, what's her face? Ansara.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
I didn't like how Trudy and Ansara were switched up like it was some sort of joke thing. I don't know. It was weird. And it was a fun, lighthearted episode with some seriousness. I can see it making top 10 in the season, maybe like 8, 7, 6, 5. But I feel like that's where it's going to be good at. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I didn't really like this one.
You're not giving this a 6 out of 10.
Why not, Kandyce?
What do you mean, why not? You're not giving it a 6 out of 10 because you heard my rating and you want it to be an 8. That's exactly what you did. Yes, you want it to be an 8. But think about it this way.
Kandyce, I get to choose. None of this matters. I did the Here's What Happened. I get to choose. It's in the bylaws.
No, because here's the thing. You obviously wanted to hear what I said. You heard my rating higher, so you went lower so that it would make the score that you wanted it to make. But think about it this way. We just did our wrap up, and every single episode that you rated an 8, for one, I got to choose where the placement was because you didn't differentiate your episodes enough. So there's that. And for 2, if you give an episode a 6, it's going to be towards the bottom of the barrel.
7.
And it doesn't deserve that. And you know that.
Fine, I'll give it a 7.
No, you're not giving it a 7 either.
I'm giving it a 7.
No, because you have to judge it for what you actually think. You can't try to manipulate. Because that's the thing. Look. This is how I get to choose the stuff at the end. You think you're manipulating it, but you're not. Because what I do is actually compare each episode. I choose each episode and I compare it to each other. So if your list...
But that's not fair. Because
it's not fair.
I have to make the decisions before I see the show. And it's not fair. And you get to watch all of them before I get to.
Who's asking you to score an episode before you see the show? That's never happened.
I just farted.
This episode at least deserves to have a 9.
No, this episode was not that good.
I will.
It was a boring episode with a terrible crime, and I didn't want to say because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
No, that's not true.
It's true.
How about you give it an 8? You give it an 8, and I will read your next summation for you.
Okay. Okay.
All right, people.
I don't care.
You heard it.
Bribery works.
This episode has a 10, has an 8. It's going to get a 9. It's going to be glorious. Okay. We'll see you next time. Thank you guys for joining. Don't forget to, subscribe to our show. You probably already did that. But make sure that if you want to submit a viewer's voice, that you do that. Go into a little bit into the future, or you can always, when you're watching this and you're like, oh, I want to do that, send me a DM on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, comment, and I can let you know what episode we're on, and then just be ready to submit your stuff, because we record just whenever we see each other, so we don't have like a set date. So if you want to do that viewer's voice, you will hear another one of those next week for sure. I already have it in the bag, so don't you worry about that. So go into the future and... Ooh, go into the future. And I think that's it for the show.
Bye!
Good one. Foreign Man. Loved it.
Check out our Jason Grayson.
Oh, yes. This is the first episode that we've done back since our Jason Gray Stanford interview. The season premiere we had already filmed or recorded. But this is our first one back. What'd you think about the interview, Noah?
It was fun. He was fun. He asked me how my spring break went.
He did. Okay, if you saw the YouTube video, it didn't show him asking Noah about his spring break and us like introducing ourselves. But the audio version, if you want to hear it, there's like a minute or 2 that's extra at the beginning if you want. It just didn't really fit in with the video because we did like a sound check and all that stuff. So I'm giving a little behind the scenes. But if you want to go check out the audio version, there's a couple of minutes of us actually meeting Jason. Introducing ourselves. So yes,
so
it was
cool.
It was
like
really
on
cool.
We're on a first name basis now.
Yeah, well,
we call him Jace.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. Okay, definitely. Call him J-Man.
Call him JJ.
He'd appreciate that.
J-Dog.
J-Man.
J-Bone.
Monk guy.
Monk guy.
Monk guy. That's funny. We actually call him Monk guy. But anyway.
Oh, we do.
No, could you think of something on the top of your head that was the most like surprising thing or the best answer you could think of?
That he said?
Yeah.
That the Dishermint gum, because I have my own personal question.
Yeah.
What was the flavor of the Dishermint gum?
Yeah.
And he said it was blueberry, which was the actual thing. It was diet blueberry in the show, but the fact that it was actually blueberry, I don't think, do they make blue?
Yeah, they do. They do make blueberry because remember I was going to send it in the box. Why didn't I send that on the box? I think I sent something else. Oh, no, I did. I sent blueberry. I sent blue gum. I don't know if it was blueberry. Oh. But yeah. He said it was Hubba Bubba blueberry. Yeah. Mine was, I snuck a question in there. We had a little extra time. I snuck it in there. And it was the question about if he saw his character end up with Natalie. Like if he could see that. Yeah.
He said no.
That was surprising to me a little bit. Not going to lie.
But my favorite would have to be the prop question. Which 2 props? He brought 2 props.
Oh. If you want to know, go check the video. Go check the interview. Think about it. If you've already seen the interview, you already know what it is. So Noah doesn't have to repeat it.
What if someone forgot? Then I feel bad because they're going to have to go back and check.
Okay, tell them one.
I'll tell you one. And it'll refresh your memory. The badge. It's funny
even though he doesn't need a badge. He don't need a badge to tell him wrong or right. He don't need a badge. So also, guys, of course, go check out the Randy Disher podcast because I listened to the first episode so far. It is very good. It is very exciting. And the more energy that we can all get behind there being a monk, vibes, energy, maybe we could get a reboot going. That would be amazing. A movie, a mini series or something. So go check it out. Make sure you, and also do that for us too. Heart, like, subscribe, do all of that. Because again, the more action they're going to see, the more action that we're going to see in the Monkverse. So, All right, guys, we will see you next time for episode 3.
8 seasons in a movie. Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Junk Monk Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so please give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, follow us at Junk Monk Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
If you want to know more about Kandyce, she's at Hardens and Hardhats on Instagram. And if you want to know more about me, Noah L., subscribe to my vlog, Noah Hernandez, on YouTube. Also, you can leave us a voicemail at 323-366-0477 with your questions, comments, or just to show us some love.
Don't forget to catch up on Monk with Amazon Prime Video, and of course, subscribe to our show.
You'll thank me later.
On the toes. Okay. Bye, guys.
Mwah.